Where there is no struggle, there is absolutely no progress, says one of the amazing quotes. Hey listeners, welcome to our podcast Giridhar's Garady. Here is Giridhar with you on a fresh episode. Knock knock. Let's see who is here on the show with us today. Hey, it's you. Well, let me tell you guys a few words about this guest. She is someone who is brilliant at everything, an entrepreneur, teacher, effective communicator, and whatnot. Personally, I know her as a cheerful and amazing person since our college days. On this note, join me in welcoming our guest for today's episode, Sunaina. Hey Sunaina, welcome to Giridhar's Garadi. How are you doing today?
Hi, Giridhar. I'm doing excellent. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Yes, I'm doing good. Thank you. Great. Just one quick question before we dive into the concept. How do you feel like being a guest on this podcast?
Honestly, it feels amazing to be on your podcast. I'm a subscriber to your channel. I've heard a number of episodes on there. And, I feel it a great opportunity to be able to learn from others' experience. And I feel so special being here sharing my own experiences today.
Wow, that's amazing and good to hear. All right. So, Sunaina, tell us, what is this overcoming struggles all about?
So first, I feel like everyone in their day-to-day life goes through a lot of struggles, and a lot of times these are not real struggles, but just small inconveniences that happen to our original plan. And here today I'm just going to share about what the different kind of struggles are and how we can overcome them.
Okay. Okay. So, let's come from the basics. According to you, what is a struggle?
Great question, Giri. So if you look up on the dictionary, just you look for a definition for struggle, it says a forceful or violent effort to get free of restraint or resist attack. And while that sounds like, oh, wow, really? That is not what we usually refer to as struggles in our life, right? For us, it is more like to proceed with a difficulty with great effort. And this is more the kind of struggles that usually people face in their lives. I think the first one is kind of like what an actual struggle was, if you're talking about, like, say, the freedom struggle, or uh, something more on a larger scale. But for our day-to-day life, we are just looking at how to overcome difficult situations in our life.
Okay. So, now that you are talking about the day to day lives, let me put my next question in this way. In general, what are the struggles that we may experience in our day to day lives?
uh, when you hear people talk, and I am someone who is talkative, you already know that from college days. I come across a lot of people, I hear about them talking, and the usual struggles that I hear about are job, traffic, education, kids, relationships, finances, family, depression, addiction, health. There are like weight management. Some people look at everything as a struggle, and some of these are serious struggles, and they are more intense compared to some of the others. But I think these are some of the common struggles that people have in their day-to-day lives.
Yes, yes, exactly. So, why do you think we go through the struggles?
I believe struggle is actually it's a part of life. It's the nature of life, right? There is no way around it. Uh, in life, you do come across difficult situations. That is just how life is. Imagine if you were born, you grew up, you had a plan, everything went according to the plan, and you died. I don't think I've ever heard anyone's life like that, right? And it just doesn't happen like that. So struggle is the nature of life. You overcoming struggles is how you become a better person, or even a person in general. How your experiences, your struggles, and your experience overcoming those struggles is what really makes you you. And every person is unique, everyone's struggles are unique. and how they overcome it is also unique. We can just, learn from others' experiences. And like I was saying, there is no way around a struggle. You just have to go through it.
Yes, yes. And end of the day, it depends on the person to whatever
Yeah,
extent they would like to take something as a struggle or not.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So now here comes the crux of this episode. What are the ideal ways to deal with the struggles?
Uh, Great, right? And just like we were talking a minute ago, struggles, everyone deals with them separately. And like I was saying in the beginning, a lot of times what we think as struggles are just inconveniences, right? Uh, there are some major struggles, and I've seen people go through it, right? And I was mentioning some of them. Think about addiction, or think about a health challenge, or death of a close one in the family. These are actually situations which might leave you struggling for a long time. A few years of your life are lost trying to overcome that kind of struggle. But most of the times when you hear people talk and complaints about, oh, what, there is like so much traffic when I leave for work, or what, I just can't sleep at night because you're on the phone till like 1 a.m. in the morning, and that's a big struggle, right? So you have to go through the struggle, and I think there are three stages, in my opinion. There are three stages to dealing with struggle. The first is to acknowledge it, right? You have to acknowledge the problem. You cannot live your life in denial, right? You have to acknowledge the problem first, then you have to accept it. Yes, this is the problem and I have it. And the third stage is to deal with it, right? You deal with it, you come up with a plan, you implement it, and then finally you're victorious against the struggle, right? You come out on the other side of the tunnel. Think of it like a tunnel. That tunnel is your struggle, right? So you enter it, you accept it, you enter it, you deal with it, and you come out victorious. And I think it's very important to have a mentor in life. uh, Someone, it could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be a parent, it could be a parent figure, it could be someone older to you, sometimes someone younger to you. But having a mentor kind of really is like having a flashlight in the tunnel, right? And always just remember, if there is no pain, no failure, no struggle, no disappointment in life, then there wouldn't be the good things, right? You wouldn't have any courage, you wouldn't be strong, you wouldn't have compassion. So it's like two sides of a coin. With struggle comes victory. And no matter how bad the struggle is, just remember that whatever doesn't kill you only makes you stronger.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well said, Sunaina.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah. Great. So now that we have discussed these ways to deal with the struggles theoretically, let's proceed with our discussion through practical examples. Can you share with us any two incidents from real life events, maybe out of your experiences, that could enlighten us on how to deal with the struggles effectively?
Sure, Giri. So I have been blessed to not have any, like big life changing sort of struggles, except just one. And I will talk about that and first, and then I will also share about some of the smaller, like the inconveniences I talked about, right? And how we can overcome those. The first struggle that uh, I really had to face was postpartum depression. And I think this is not really spoken about much. And it doesn't depend which country you're in. It just doesn't get the required amount of attention, in my opinion. And I had this after my first child. So postpartum depression is nothing but the depression women usually go into after having a child, because it's just so many physical, biological, and other changes in your life happening. You have a responsibility, you're supposed to take care of a newborn, it doesn't come with a manual, and there are just things happening. And so it was very difficult. So it was okay the first time I had my child, which was almost 6 years ago. But the second time, my second kid I had in 2019. And the whole world changed for everyone in 2020. The same happened for me. And I was at stuck at home with two kids, one 3-year-old and one 6-month old, with absolutely no help. We didn't have anyone in the family here at that time. It was just me and my husband. We were both working. It was a mess. Life was an absolute mess at that point in my life. It was really a struggle, waking up in the morning, just getting through the day was a struggle. And I completely was in that situation. Like when you hear about postpartum depression, you hear about people saying, oh yeah, you know what, you don't want to do anything, you don't care for yourself, you don't care for the child, you don't, you just like, why did this happen to me, kind of a situation. And that was pretty much where I was at that point, right? But I absolutely love my two kids. And so that was where it was having to acknowledge it. Yes, this is a problem, this is happening. And I had to accept it. I had to accept that, sometimes it's very difficult. Like I was telling you, people live in denial. They're like, oh no, everything's nice. You live your life through someone else, or you live your life through the moments you share on social media. But there is a lot of actual real life in between that's happening that no one else sees, right? And it's you who has to make it happen. So at that point I just was like, okay, time to accept it. I had spent a few months like that, where I was like, oh, I don't want to do this, and oh, this is so difficult, and not able to manage alone. Like there was absolutely no way to get help. Like my parents wanted to come help me, but there were no flights. My in-laws wanted to come help, there was no flights. My husband wanted to help, but he had his job, he was doing his best. I had a job where I had to stay on camera from 9 to 4. And it was like I had to just, I was teaching virtually, so there was absolutely no other way around it. And I decided to go through it, right? So I had to come up with a plan. I had to get help, find a mentor, someone to talk to through, to share my frustrations, because it's very important to vocalize it, right? You cannot just keep it inside yourself. And that is where you really need a friend who will listen without giving any advice, because at that point I wasn't looking for advice, right? I could have just googled something for depression and just gone that way. I just needed someone to listen to me without any judgment, and without any like advice giving or anything like that. And then I decided to go through it. That was when I was like, hey, you know what, I need to come up with a plan. This is happening because so and so and so. I'm not getting enough sleep, I have a lot of work to do, and I have to somehow manage all the work. uh, I had long hair. I've always had like long hair since college, but then I was barely able to care for the hair. And I was like, you know what, this needs to go. So summer 2020, first things, I chopped off my hair, like, above my shoulders. I was like, it'll grow back by the time the kids grow up, and then I'll probably have more time to take care of it. It was a difficult decision. I'd never done that in all my 30 years of my life. But, I was like, hey, you know what, a different style. You just go with it. And I did that. And then I came up with a plan for my whole cooking cleaning situation. I was like, I'm going to do it every alternate day. It's that's just how it's going to be. The same with the kids, because I was on camera teaching. I had to tell my students that, hey guys, you know what, I have two kids, so this and this age, you're going to see them on camera sometimes. That's just going to happen. And there are going to be times when I have to like turn off my audio to maybe scold them, or turn off my video to feed them. And I'm here if you need help. If we drop the call, just get back to me, and we'll work from there. We have to remember, and this is not my saying, it was said by John Maxwell, who's a great author, that 10% of life is what happens to you, and 90% is how you react to it. Right. So 10% was what happened to me, right? It happens to, I think, everyone, most people I know, and I have spoken to after that have gone through postpartum depression. 90% is how you deal with it, right? Do you really become bitter and not stop taking care of yourself? You're always mad at the kids. Well, it's not their fault, right? Or do you really just find a way to get through it? And I want to say I did my best. And a lot of times, like I was saying, you have to ask for help. A lot of people around you are very understanding, but they're not mind readers, right? Not even people in your family, they're not mind readers, so they're not going to know what you're expecting them to do, or what is going on in your mind, unless you really ask them. And if you ask them for help, then you're going to get it, right? Like when I told my students this, they were all cool with it. They were like, sure, Miss Tadi, whenever, whatever. And sometimes my kid would come online and they would say hi to him. They would like chat with him for 5 minutes. That would give me a break to go get something done. If I had to nurse my younger one, I would just turn the camera off and I would give them some work and I would like, hey, you know what, work on this. We'll see you back in 15 minutes. And I would go feed the younger one, whatever I had to do. And today, my younger one just turned 3, like 3 days back, and my older one's gonna be 6 in a few months. And everything's good. We went through it, right? We came out successful on the other end. So I am very glad that that was one situation which I was able to really go through and overcome. Uh, that was my first time, and that really was a struggle. That's why I was saying some things are real struggles, especially when it comes to your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. Health is a major struggle, and I really encourage everyone to take care of it. The second example, well, I want to give an example of managing, I think, struggling with finances, because that is another thing that I have seen a lot of people struggle with, especially our generation, I want to say, because we are somewhere in between. I feel like our generation, we come from backgrounds where we know what it is to live modestly, because we have seen our parents do that. But at the same time, we have so much exposure and so much knowledge of what is happening in the outside world, that we want to do all that too, right? And we are somewhere in between, the millennials, the Gen Z people, where we are struggling with finances. It's honestly, it's a thing. It's just there because we have parents, aging parents, we want to take care of. We have a lifestyle that we want to live, take vacations, have branded stuff. And at the same time, we also have to live within our means, right? And so this is actually an inconvenience and not a struggle, because a lot of times I feel like we bring this upon ourselves. Growing up, I never knew of the big brands. The big brands were not even available in India. I remember when I had first moved to Kakinada, there was no McDonald's in Kakinada. There was no KFC. Uh, there was no, like a branded pizza place or anything like that, right? And just 12 years from when I was there, look at the place now. There's everything over there, right? And people are spending the money on there. The same thing, the only kind of TV we had was cable TV. And today when I talk to friends in India, they have every subscription possible. They have Netflix, they have Amazon, they have um, Tata Sky, they have Aha TV, they have, I mean, they have so many. And I'm like, when do you guys even have the time to, see all of this stuff on there? And they're kind of competing with everyone else. Hey, someone got a big house, I want to get a big house. How many people are living? 2 people, but we still want a big house. uh somebody has a so and so car, I want a car. I don't know how to drive really well, but I still want a car. Or branded clothes, branded makeup. And you're bringing it upon yourself. It's always really good to, I'm not saying don't enjoy the things in life, they are there for you to enjoy. I agree, our parents generation, they did not have that option. They did not have Louis Vuitton stores staring at you in a mall, or they did not have stores like Prada or Zara, where you could actually go and wear clothes that celebrities are wearing. But even then, I would say struggling with finances is a planning problem and not a struggle problem, right? People going out every long weekend. We don't do that, even though we are here, we are both working. We do not go out every long weekend, but we take a good vacation every year, one, sometimes two, right? So it ends up you're spending almost the same amount of money, but you're just more rejuvenated when you take a longer vacation. Same thing, we don't have any subscriptions, we don't watch TV, our kids don't watch TV. It's Are you saving a whole bunch of money? Not really, but you're protecting your mind from all that stuff that you're watching. And just do whatever it takes for you to overcome the struggle in your way with planning, because do not think of it as a struggle. Don't, because as soon as you use the word struggle in your mind, the first definition comes up, right? You're fighting, you are like a freedom fighter fighting for your freedom, or you're this uh, person who's just has to break free of something. Think of it like, okay, I have a problem now, how do I solve it, right? And put your mind to work. Your mind can come up with some really amazing solutions that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise. uh yeah, so that's just and this is also a personal example, because there have been times in the beginning when we were struggling with finances, and we had friends who were buying big houses, and and living in the US, you can easily afford luxury cars, everything is on loan, right? But we did not make that decision, because for us it was more important to have some kind of a plan and know where we were going, and know that whatever lifestyle we chose, we could sustain it. Yeah, so that's my personal real life struggle examples.
Wow, just kudos to you, Sunaina, because you spoke about some of the rarest things that usually people hesitate to speak. And in fact, a huge round of applause to you that you overcame out of your depression.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I can say you have absolutely made it very clear with your practical examples, the thin line of difference between the struggle and the inconvenience. You have made it clear. Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you so much, Giri. Thank you.
All right. So moving on, what's your say on the term trust your struggle?
uh Trust your struggle, right? Again, this is more in the phase where you're going through it. Like I said, you're going through that tunnel. Trust that there is a opening on the other end. For some people the tunnel might be really short, for some it might be really long. For some you might have a flashlight, for some maybe you're just feeling your way through the wall and you're like, oh my god, is this ever going to end? But keep at it, just be mindful, know why you're doing it, right? Like depression, why was I going through it? Hey, I wanted to live a good happy life with my kids, I wanted to see them, and I wanted to be happy about it, not resentful, right? Oh, why did I do this, why did I have a kid, or why did I have a second kid? I didn't want to be like that, right? So just know what is your end goal, right? If you are struggling with weight management, right, what is your end goal? Hey, I want to be fit, I want to look good, whatever it is. If you have that end goal in mind, that is like your sticking point, right? That is what is going to get you through that tunnel. And that is what it's going to help you from not getting distracted. Every person is a constant work in progress. You have to keep working on yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, however it is that you decide. But you are a work in progress. The day you feel you've achieved everything, that day you're as good as dead, right? Just have patience. A lot of times people have patience for others, right? They're very patient with others but not with themselves. I would say have patience with yourself, and always persevere. That is vital, that is the key, because if only if you keep going will you keep growing.
And that's another amazing response, Sunaina. Once again, kudos to you because you have brought simply a positive perspective here.
Thank you.
Okay, so now tell us in what way these struggles help us evolve as a better person.
So it has surely made me a better person, because I have become very non-judgmental, right? uh, Before, and it's human nature. When you see some situation, or when you look at some people, or you see a certain thing happening, you kind of form some kind of a opinion in your mind. After going through my struggles, and after just having seen and met and talked to a lot of people, I don't judge anyone anymore. Whatever it is, people are trying to make the best of whatever life is giving them, and they are doing it in their own way. right? As long as no one is hurting someone, harming someone, and as long as you are operating from a principle of empathy and compassion, you're good. Always live by the golden rule: do unto others as you would have do on yourself. And I think that has been my motto for the past many years. That's what I teach my kids. I'm like, hey, if you don't like what is being done, just before doing anything or before saying anything, think about, hey, is this something that I would feel okay with if it was done to me? If not, don't do it, right? And I think it's the same thing, because sometimes people are not willing to share what is happening in their life with you, and when you judge them, you're automatically hurting them. So be empathetic, be compassionate, and just uh if you can help in any way you can. Sometimes just telling them a good word helps. Like when I was going through my postpartum depression, and I was in the same clothes for 2 days, not having brushed my hair, all someone else had to do to make me feel better was like, hey, you know what, you're doing a great job with your kids, instead of, oh wow, you look like a mess. Both things say the same thing, but they have very different uh, effect on the person it's being said to.
Yes, yes, exactly. So, what are the life lessons that we can learn from struggles?
uh, yeah, you can find patterns as to, is this something that is like, uh, if it's something that's really wrong that needs like special attention, or is it just something that you're lacking in planning? Like, let's say if you're someone who's struggling with weight, you keep losing weight, putting on weight, losing weight, putting on weight. Hey, that's a pattern, right? It's something, a deeper problem. You really need to fix it. Or if it's something as simple as, oh, I don't know how to manage my time, but hey, if I use something to keep track of where I'm spending my time, I can fix it easily and quickly, right? So these life lessons are really like life lessons. They'll get you through life uh, in a successful way.
Hmm, awesome. Okay, so Sunaina, before we wind up this concept, just one message for our listeners with respect to today's concept, overcoming struggles.
I just want to reiterate, guys, 10% of life is what happens to you, and 90% is how you react to it. So I'm not saying always be that positive person who's living in denial. Acknowledge it, accept it, and get through it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sunaina. Thank you so much for that amazing message.
Thank you, Giri.
All right. So now it's time for us to move on to our next segment, that is the rapid fire round. Let me tell you that this rapid fire round is a fun segment. There is no logic involved. The idea is to end the episode with a smile after a sort of serious discussion so far. So are you ready?
Yes.
Great. So Sunana, here's my first question to you in the rapid fire round. School or college?
School.
Great. Bollywood or Tollywood?
Recently Tollywood. My husband doesn't watch a lot of Hindi movies, so I've kind of turned down my Hindi movie watching too.
Okay. Mobile or laptop?
I prefer to work off of a laptop.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Summer. When you stay in a cold place, like where I live, we get snow every year. It's cold like 5 6 months out of the year. You start to appreciate the summer and the sweat and the heat.
That's great. Okay. India or US?
Uh, India for food, US for everything else. I miss Indian food.
Okay. So you want to go ahead with both the options.
Yes.
Great. Hot or sweet now that you're talking about food?
Sweet.
Sweet. Oh,
Yeah.
and you are a sweet person.
Thank you.
Great. Facebook or Instagram?
Neither actually. I really toned down on my social media. So I have accounts on both, but I'm not very active on either of them.
That's great. You are experiencing real life.
Yep.
Okay. Sun or moon?
Sun, yes, sun.
Okay. Sun and summer again.
Yeah, sun
Okay.
and summer.
Okay. Bike or car?
I want to say bike because I haven't been on a bike since I think 2015. Yeah, bike. I miss
Okay.
that experience.
Okay. So, Sunaina, here's my last question to you in the rapid fire round. My most favorite one. Let's see what you're going to say.
Okay.
Okay. Giridhar or Sunaina?
Oh, this one is easy. See, I would pick you any day because yeah, it's just you because you obviously are a great person, and I know that you probably had to overcome a lot of struggles to get this going, to come up with this whole thing, to get it to the level that it is. And you have overcome a big struggle. So, and since this episode is all about overcoming struggles, this last one is for you, Giri.
That's a wise answer, I must say, Sunaina. But of course, thank you so much for choosing me and also understanding me. But at the end of the day, I must say that I am not going through any struggle because out of passion, I am doing everything. So I'm not taking it in that way. That's the only thing I would like to say here.
When you do it with passion, it doesn't feel like a struggle, right?
Yes, exactly. That's my point here. All right. So thank you, Sunaina. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast today. We look forward to having you once again on this show in future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everyone who's listening to this episode.
Great. Thank you once again for being with us today.
Bye bye.
Well, that's it for today, listeners. I'll be back next week with another amazing guest. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you.